Hi, Luann. Thank you so much for speaking with Showbiz this morning. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really excited to talk to you. You're one of my favorites on the New York franchise, and I haven't been watching that long. I literally just started from season one because I started at like season 10, I think.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going backwards and watching everything. You're always fun and the life of the party. So I enjoy watching you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's get into your time with Real Housewives of New York. Obviously, there has been, the reveal that the show will be split into two separate shows, one featuring the OGs and a new one with the more modern, I guess, diverse cast is what the word has been thrown around. And initially you said that you were surprised by the plans, but you were open. Now that time has settled and the news has been out there for a while, how do you feel about the concept?
Well, I love the idea of filming with the OGs because I know them all. I think it's difficult when you have a new person in the cast that doesn't quite fit. And so I think it's really smart at the end of the day to do a new cast and then to do the OG cast. And so, now that I've had time to kind of sit with it, I think it's kind of genius.
But you have so much going on outside of your work with Real Housewives of New York. Obviously, it's an amazing platform, and it gives you the opportunity to promote your businesses and start new businesses and come up with different ideas. So you have your Cabaret Show, you have your non-alcoholic rosé line, Fosé. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering, you said that you would rather film with the OGs, and obviously you're still open to that. But would you actually like to do your own spinoff and showcase the full you in your own capacity so that viewers can just get all of Luann?
Sure, that would be great. And I've heard some, inklings that there might be something happening, but for the moment, I'm just busy with my cabaret tour, and I'm having so much fun with it because it gives me, as you said, that creative outlet, and I get to travel with the show. I get to sing my favorite songs. I get to talk all things housewives that the fans love. I do a Q&A with my show. And I've put together some really cool video packages and I take, kind of music that I love and kind of turn it on its head and make it my own as I do with a couple of Broadway tunes. So the show is all new and I'm super excited about it. I have a new director who directs Kristen Chenoweth and Barbara Streisand. And so I get to work with the best in the business and I work really hard, at my cabaret. I've been doing it since 2018. So it's something that, I put a tremendous amount of work into. And it's something that I enjoy being creative with. And the fans are loving it. And I'll be going to the first time to Canada, June 2nd and 3rd. I'll be in Toronto, and then I'm going to be in Montreal, and then I'll be, West Coast and San Fran and Los Angeles and Seattle. And so I'm really looking forward to the tour and possibly filming the new spinoff of Housewives coming up.
And speaking more in depth about your cabaret show, you mentioned it is really the real deal. I've seen a lot of the reviews about it. And I read that you're working alongside Richard J. Alexander, who's worked with so many icons in the business. But one of the things I was interested in, because I hadn't really seen anything as far as you explaining this, obviously you love cabaret, you love show business, you're very entertaining, but why initially decide to take the cabaret route?
Well, it's interesting because I have an old friend who's near and dear to me, and he said to me, Luann, you love to host parties, you love to tell jokes to your friends, and you love to sing for your friends. So I got news for you. You're a cabaret performer. And I was like, oh, you think so? And I didn't really do anything about it at that point. And I'd married Tom, and, I was busy getting married and divorced. And then when this whole thing happened with me in Palm Beach, I decided, I've got to stand back up, and this is my time. And it just felt right. The timing was right. I didn't realize there was kind of a void for cabaret at the time. It wasn't my intention, oh, I'm going to do a cabaret show, because there is none. I just was doing what I wanted to do. And, it kind of filled a void in the cabaret world because look, Liza's not, performing anymore, and, Cheetah and, all of the great cabaret stars, Bette Midler. I mean, she's one of my, for me is so iconic in terms of what I do. and, Liza and, even Billy Stritch, who is my musical director, and has been since 2018, worked with Liza for 25 years. So I really, it just fell, it kind of fell into my lap in terms of, like the show did, like the Real Housewives. I didn't try to get on the Housewives. It just came to me through Jill Zarin in the very beginning. And so I feel like this cabaret thing just kind of came along naturally and feels like a natural fit for me. So I'm thrilled to be able to do it and to be able to, bring the cabaret and the joy that I have doing it to my fans, because, I'm glad you've heard great reviews, because, like I said, I work really hard at it, and to be recognized in that way by the fans, and having them love the show means the world to me.
And speaking of, you mentioned that one of the reasons that you felt that the timing was right for you to do the Cabaret Show starting in 2018 was because you really wanted to take back control of your narrative after some misfortunes. And speaking of that, I mentioned that you recently launched your non-alcoholic drink line, and congrats on your success with that. And I also read that you've gotten it into a few restaurants and bars around New York City, which I find to be necessary, because contrary to popular belief, not everybody drinks,
right,
or they don't always want to drink. And sometimes you can look like the Debbie Downer if you're in these social settings and you don't have a cocktail in your hand. And not enough places, I've realized in recent years, really offer mocktails. So mocktails, my apologies. So how was the process of creating the line? And did you find it difficult to distribute, or did you find it easy because it is sort of an open and niche market?
Well, I originally came up with the idea during COVID with my daughter. We were not drinking, and we tried to find something on the market that we liked. And we couldn't find anything that we really liked that was, elevated, that, you could feel like you're drinking right along with everyone else. I wanted it to look like rosé. I wanted it to taste kind of like rosé. And there was just nothing like it. So we decided to make our own. And I partnered with Kin Euphorics, who actually makes the juice. And right now we're on drinkfose.com, and we're working on distribution so that everyone can have it, because, I feel like there's such a stigma related to not drinking. When you go to a restaurant or a bar, you order a Perrier and people are like, oh, she doesn't drink, So I just wanted to kind of take that stigma away and build something from the ground up, because, I've tasted the non-alcoholic wines and a lot of them are not good. And so I wanted a product that had great ingredients that are healthy. There's rosemary and natural tannins and oak, and shishwanda and rosemary, and all these beautiful ingredients that not only are good for you, but they make you feel good. It's low calorie. It's in a beautiful bottle. And I just felt like that was missing in the marketplace. And that's how I came up with Fosé.
Well, the oak will definitely give it a wine taste. I mean, I'm sure.
You will love it. It is so delicious. And and the great news is it's low calorie. And when you put it in like a vat of other rosés, people would never know that you're drinking. I mean, I've given it to friends that were drinking and they were like, wow, this is good. What wine is this? So, that's how good it is. And that's how much I believe in the product. So I think, the taste is in the proof is in the taste, because when you taste it, people are just overwhelmed by how good it is.
Now, outside of your Cabaret Show that you're, touring with, and your Frosé line, and obviously with RHONY on hiatus, at least the OG portion of RHONY on hiatus, you did film the first installment of Ultimate Girls Trip, and it was a very fun show to watch. And the trailer for the second mashup was just released, and it looks a lot more drama-filled than you guys' trip. Now, do you think that Ultimate Girls Trip was more fun to film than RHONY because it was so different and it was condensed?
It was a lot of fun. These trips are always, a lot of fun with the girls, but there's always a lot, there can be a lot of drama. There was a lot that we did in 1 week's time. We basically made 8 episodes in 1 week. So it was a lot of work, but it was a blast. I had a great time. I feel like you got to learn more about us because we broke down the fourth wall. And I feel like that's something that we miss by watching the Housewives. so I think that's why it felt so different. And it's also why I felt like they decided to do an OG cast for New York, because it worked so well. I think people really want to see the OGs, and they've watched us for so long. I feel like that the Ultimate Girls Trip was kind of inspiration for that spinoff, and so yeah, I feel like it's different than Housewives, and at the same time, it's OG Housewives, and it does look, the Berkshires looks totally different from where we were, but we were on a Caribbean island. We weren't in any one of our homes. I feel like that probably might have been difficult for Dorinda, because she had the entire cast in her home, and there's a lot going on, and so I feel like it's going to be a different feel, but it looks very good.
A lot of the housewives from your franchise or other franchises have done more one-off reality series as well. Like, they haven't just necessarily stuck to Bravo. They've done things like Celebrity Apprentice and Celebrity Big Brother. I know recently Cynthia Bailey, who's a good friend of yours, she did the 3rd season of Celebrity Big Brother. Would you be open to doing something like that and really branch apart from, I guess, not just Bravo, but the Housewives? And if so,
yeah,
what kind of show would you do?
Well, listen, I'm all about, I would love to do a talk show. I think it would be amazing. And, how cool would it be to do a talk show with some of the OG Housewives? I think that would be awesome. Kind of a View style show with the Housewives would be amazing.
Yeah, you guys are always on the hot topics anyway, so you might as well.
Exactly. So I feel like that would be really fun. I do love game shows. I do love sports. Everybody knows how, I like to have, fun, and I'm, always, participating with a lot of gusto. And so I feel like a game show would be fantastic, or, a dating style show, but for divorcees. How good would that be? Love the second time around. I feel like with The Bachelor, they're so young, and, and certainly there's an audience for that, but I feel like it would be really interesting to see older women, trying to find love another time around. So, I have a lot of interest in terms of shows. My background is television. Before I worked for Bravo, I worked for Italian television, and was the host of a show in Italy. And
obviously, another thing that was unprecedented and controversial was the first time in Bravo's history your franchise didn't have a reunion special, and the network cited scheduling conflicts. Had you filmed a reunion for the last season, what are some of the things you would have wanted to address?
I really think that we all ended on a good note and in a good place, and I feel like that's part of the reason too why we didn't have reunion, is like, I feel like that kind of pajama party was kind of our button on the season. And with timing issues of the network and scheduling and all that stuff, I can understand why they didn't do it, but I just feel like I landed in a good place. So there's nothing more that I think I would have to say in the reunion. So I pretty much said it throughout the season and, in the final episode.
And my final question to you is that, speaking of branching off with RHONY and, the OGs and newer people, you did mention that it can be difficult for a new housewife to find their footing on the show, especially with something like Real Housewives of New York, because that's been on since 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been on for over a decade. And you guys had Eboni K Williams on your show, and she had an interesting season. There were some highs, there were some lows, but she recently spoke out saying that the only person who wanted to potentially film with her if she were to come back would be Sonja Morgan. Is that something that you wanted to clear up?
Well, listen, I don't know what she believes, but I have no hard feelings towards Eboni. I mean, I thought we all ended on a good note, and I wouldn't say that's the truth. I mean, maybe that's her truth, but it's not mine.
And what else are you working on that you want your fans to know? I know we can keep up with you on social media. You mentioned your Prose line, you mentioned your Cabaret Show. What other projects do you have in the works that you're able to share?
Well, I haven't written a book in a while, and, I wrote Class with the Countess years ago, and I've been approached to write a memoir. So I'm working on a memoir, but between Cabaret, which is keeping me very busy and on tour, and, and having some personal time and, possibly filming, Housewives coming up, possibly, I say, You know, and the Fose, which I'm really concentrating on, you know, my life is full, and, you know, I have a family and I have children. And so I was just with them for Mother's Day. So, you know, I've got a lot on my plate, and I'm loving every second of it because I'm doing what I love. And so we'll see what's next.
Well, I'll be watching. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope you get to see the show.